Mid-Michigan Now starts with breaking news.
In fact, we begin with a couple of breaking stories tonight. First, an 18-year-old facing murder charges after police say he shot and killed Jayla Keel during Flint's annual 810 Day celebration. Good evening, and thanks for joining us. I'm Mike Woolfolk.
And I'm Stella Daskalakis. The shooting happened just after 10 at night on August 10th on East 2nd and Harrison Streets, where about 2,000 people were gathering for the event. Terrance Deniod Green of Flint is charged with homicide, along with felony weapons offenses and assault with intent to murder. Police say a 16-year-old Flint boy also was hurt in the shooting. Green is in the Genesee County Jail without bond.
Also breaking at this hour, another arrest. This one, though, in Thetford Township. Michigan State police troopers have arrested a 28-year-old Flint man. He's accused of several break-ins. Now, this is a story we've been tracking since Monday. Troopers made the arrest during a traffic stop, saying the suspect had some items stolen in the break-ins with him. They found hundreds more while searching his home. Investigators will reach out to victims after this Labor Day holiday weekend to identify stolen property.
A Saginaw man is heading back to prison after a gun is found on him when he tried to take off from a traffic stop and crashed a car into an ambulance. 30-year-old Terrance West was a passenger in a car that was stopped in Saginaw in August of last year. When troopers asked the driver to get out of the car, West allegedly hopped into the driver's seat and drove off. He then crashed the car into an ambulance that had pulled over to help. He has been sentenced to more than 13 years in prison for possessing a firearm as a convicted felon. He was previously convicted of several weapons and controlled substance charges.
Also in Saginaw tonight, police there say a former state lawmaker faces charges after bringing 2 guns into a local hospital. Investigators are charging former state representative Jewel Jones of Inkster with 2 counts of carrying a concealed weapon and 2 counts of possessing a weapon on restricted premises. Police got involved with this when Covenant Hospital security requested help.
2 local mayors come together to stop the violence in their communities. Both mayors are asking everyone to strive for peace as gun violence is happening more often in the city recently. In a statement, Saginaw Mayor Brenda Moore says, quote, "We cannot stand by as we lose an entire generation to this ongoing violence. We cannot accept this in our community. Now is the time to act. Now is the time to move forward." She also reminds residents to keep people safe. It requires teamwork. And if you see something, say something. In a statement, Flint Mayor Sheldon Neely says negative narratives on social media do not define us. We will not allow bad actors to jeopardize the partnerships we have built over generations. Together, clergy, community leaders, and elected officials must reject these false divisions and lift up the truth of who we are. Since January of this year, residents within the Michigan Senate's 35th district have gone without representation. The seat, formerly held by now Congresswoman Kristen McDonald-Rivet, has been vacant for nearly 8 months. And residents, Republican and Democrat, are frustrated. Governor Gretchen Whitmer is trying to ease those frustrations with a special announcement today. Mid-Michigan Now's Deshaun Johnson is live in the studio with more information. Deshaun.
Stella, Governor Gretchen Whitmer has called a special election to fill the vacant 35th district seat that represents a large portion of Mid-Michigan. The seat has been vacant since November of 2024 when former Rep. Kristen McDonald-Rivet was sworn into the U.S. House of Representatives. After a near 8-month delay, the governor has sent a letter to the Secretary of State, Jocelyn Benson, calling for a special primary election in February and a general election in May of next year. But since this past January, voters in District 35 have not had a voice in the Senate, which many residents and candidates have found unacceptable.
Due to the governor's decision, the more than 270,000 residents in Midland, Bay, and Saginaw counties, they're going to go more than 480 days without any representation in the state Senate. And that's a disservice, and this is a very intentional politically motivated, unserious decision by the governor, and it's having real impacts that negatively impact the people of the 35th Senate District here in the Great Lakes Bay Area.
Coming up at 10 and 11 tonight, more from State Representative Schuette on the timing of this decision and reaction from at least two candidates who will seek the District 35 Senate seat. For now, in the studio, Deshaun Johnson, Mid-Michigan Now.
All right, Deshaun, thank you for the update there. Well, the clock is ticking toward a Labor Day strike at Henry Ford Genesys Hospital in Grand Blanc. Hundreds of nurses there are preparing to walk the picket line while the hospital says it's ready to keep operations running. Mid-Michigan Now's Andrea Flores joins us in studio now to break this down. Andrea, what's at the center of the dispute? And more importantly, how might this affect patients?
Mike, union leaders say the main issue comes down to patient safety. They argue that their nurse-to-patient ratios are putting patient care at risk and overworking staff, while hospital leaders argue their staffing model is both safe and competitive. On Monday morning, Teamsters Local 332 says more than 700 registered nurses will walk out in front of Henry Ford Genesys Hospital.
They should not be forced to work double what they should have, which in turn puts the patients in jeopardy.
Nurses say the biggest concern isn't about the workload, it's about patient safety.
Leading into the night shift, it seems we're never in ratio. I mean, we're supposed to have 4 to 5, but we take anywhere from 6 to 11 patients.
Stephanie Bates is a registered nurse at Henry Ford. She says the strain is heartbreaking, especially when patients need more support than she has time to give.
You could have an older person crying because they wet themselves because you couldn't make it in there in time.
Hospital leaders say they'll remain open and fully staffed, using team members and contracted nurses. In a statement, interim president Gwen Sandifer calls the expected strike unfortunate and says, quote, the hospital will continue to provide the same exceptional care our patients expect and deserve. The hospital argues that mandated nurse-to-patient ratios, one of the Teamsters' key demands, do not change patient outcomes and could increase wait times. In a statement, Henry Ford's chief nursing executive Eric Wallace says, quote, we value our nurses' unique professional expertise. We include their leadership in staffing decisions and will continue to do so. The hospital also says its proposed contract offers overtime, benefits, and pay that would put 60% of union members above $100,000 a year before overtime and holiday pay. Still, nurses say the issue isn't just about paychecks.
Nobody wants to go out on strike. Nobody wants to, put their, families in jeopardy or the community in jeopardy, but it's not safe.
The strike is set to begin Monday morning. Until a deal is reached, both sides say they'll continue to stand their ground. For now, live in the studio, Andrea Flores, Mid-Michigan Now.
Andrea, thank you. Caught on camera, we showed you photos of this last night. Tonight, you get to see it happen in real time. That is police chasing a stolen car, and they use a technique that looks like it came straight out of a Batman movie. Officers pull right up behind that white Chevy Cruze. They deploy what's called the grappler, and when the driver tries to get away, you can see here he doesn't get very far. And watch what happens after a couple of attempts to get away. Wait for it. Wait for it. Bam! Off comes the rear axle. Police say the 27-year-old man driving that vehicle is from Brighton. He had 2 passengers with him, both women. All 3 had outstanding warrants, and tonight they are in custody.
A Bay City pub temporarily closes after a SUV crashes through a wall. What you see here is that pub called Governor's Quarters, which is on South Winona Avenue. The driver was taken to the hospital, and the crash is under investigation. Those who run the pub say the business will be back because their staff and spirit cannot be replaced.